Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Orange Sheep Dad channel. I'm glad you are here. I'm a big proponent of journaling and keeping track of what I'm doing. And I have a day timer. I buy the same brand and model of day timer every year. And I've used it to keep track of the income school blogging adventure. And I made a little PowerPoint to try and keep me on task. And so what you see on the screen is my tips, tricks, and failures, and I'm putting it into the Blogging Mentor series. I'm going to go over the ideas, fails, what I've done with social media, my current layout of my blog, money-making ideas I've learned, where to find content, common tools that I use, and where to get good quality images for my posts. And I'll try to put all the links in the description that I can. There's going to be quite a few things covered, so let's just jump right in. So my niche philosophy, basically, I may not be the best at SEO or keyword search. In fact, I know I'm not, but I'm constantly trying to think outside the box on what my audience would want to see or how to get the word out about my content. So the passion to engage in the niche is really the crux of it all, in my opinion. You've got to go to the conferences, talk to the people who are doing it, engage fully in your niche, and it will accept you and continuously pour out ideas for content. So what we'll start with is the first category, ideas or wise advice that I've received from others who have shared their blogging wisdom with me, and I'm going to pass it on to you. So at the bottom I have a quote. It's said that a wise person learns from his mistakes, a wiser one learns from others' mistakes, but the wisest person of all learns from others' successes. And that's what I'm going to share with you, both my successes and failures. So my first friend who's successful at blogging, I call him Jimmy two times because he likes to do everything his competitor does twice as good. So he says to me, I know my biggest competitor in the niche. I am targeting every keyword they do methodically, but doing a better job at it. If they write 800 words in their article, then I write 1,500 words in my article. If they have 3 images, I add 6. If they have 1 chart, then I add 2 charts. Slowly, I'm taking some of their rank 1 positions and it shows in my traffic. I will methodically take them out 1 keyword at a time. My next friend, another know thy enemy, I call him Mr. Methodical because he likes to say slow and steady wins the race. He once told me, I have identified 3 blogs in my niche which get the lion's share of the traffic. I use MarketMuse to find their keywords, and that's at marketmuse.com. I analyze their pages for traffic and then sort them with the highest traffic at the top of the page. Then I start at the bottom and attack it going up with my own articles that are better than theirs, and that is how I rank. He says I am systematically targeting their easiest articles for traffic and ranking above them. As I beat the easy articles, I move up and tackle the next hardest, etc. Eventually, I tackle their top keywords and rank above them, and then I move on like the Borg. He says, this is my strategy. I follow the 30 articles theory from Income School, meaning he uses response posts for the easy articles, staple posts for the next step up, and then he uses pillar posts for the big keywords. My next piece of advice comes from Mr. Redundancy because he has a backup for his backup. He emailed me once and said, in my case, I've got an array of a couple hundred products or services that I can promote depending on the blog and the article. So depending on what the topic is about, I can either include a link to my gig on Fiverr, my design on Redbubble, or my products on Teespring. I have products on Society6, books on Amazon. I have an Etsy shop, or I may just include an affiliate link, for example, to Host Round or other services that I use. The key, he says, like the income school guys mentioned, is diversifying your income. You want to get about 10% from AdSense, 10% from ClickBank, 10% from Amazon, 10% from selling your own products, and so on. That way, if you get disrupted somewhere, it's not a big deal. My next friend, I call him the gringo because he says we don't need no stinking tools, right? He says, I think most keyword tools are hopeless and wrong because my biggest page for traffic targeted a keyword which had 0 page views per month according to the keyword tools. I think a lot of it is guesswork on their part, so I prefer to analyze my own competition, and I use Google's suggested keywords when typing into the search bar. I also think you need to get ranked for those little keywords first for a new site so that you can start to gain trust from Google. If you rank on a small keyword and you dominate the keyword and are ranked number one, people will hang out on your site because of that. Then Google starts to trust you with bigger keywords, and eventually they trust you with the really big keywords. That's what he's found anyway. So, for example, he says his main keyword, he has slowly increased the rank, and right now he's at spot number 15, which is about page 2 of the results. And the suggested traffic for that keyword that he's targeting is 246,000 page views per month. So he says, hey, my position is slowly creeping up, and eventually I will get all the way to page 1. And then the question I commonly get asked is, how do I become an authority in my topic? I think a lot of people go after keywords that they think will be profitable, maybe through an Amazon affiliate or share a sale or something like that. And they're money minded, so they're picking that product. So I always suggest picking something you know because it's a lot easier to write about. But if you choose to write about something you're unfamiliar with, I commonly recommend the following at the very least to get you started. Number one, go to YouTube, type that keyword in, and watch 10 videos on that keyword, and this will get you some general knowledge started. Then plug that keyword into Google and read the top 10 SERP results, again, building on your general knowledge. And then go to Facebook and find at least 3 groups in that niche. Read through those topics for a good 30 minutes a day. And the goal of this is not to necessarily engage at this point. It's just to look for the common questions that you might be able to answer with a post and get to know the general knowledge a little better. Just make sure that you bookmark those posts. Same thing for Reddit or LinkedIn or any other social media group you identify that falls into your niche. Next, I would recommend visiting your nearest Barnes & Noble and go to the magazine section. Look for magazines that cater that niche if there are any. Your goal here is just to look through the magazines for inspiration on article topics and find vendor or gear items that you can do review posts on. And then lastly, I would say find any TV shows, documentaries, podcasts, that kind of thing related to your niche. Again, this is just to get more familiar with it and start with some general knowledge and maybe find some questions in there. So those are just some very basic things you can do to start becoming introduced to your niche and working your way into being an authority. The last thing I'll mention on the wise advice would be to read Backlinko at least once. And I'm specifically talking about the Backlinko 200 ranking factors list. The complete list of Google's 200 ranking factors can be found at this URL, and I'll try to remember to put that in the description too. But uh, go to Backlinko or do a Google search for the 200 ranking factors, and just once, see what all those different ranking factors are. And I've listed the main categories right below it there. Um, if you don't have time to do it, and I highly recommend you do, but if you don't have time or if you just want to do extra research, there is a smaller compendium, and I've said down here, fortunately, you don't need to master all 200 to succeed, but you do need to master at least these 13, and there's another link to the 13 most important ranking factors on Backlinko. That concludes the section on some sage advice from people already successful in the business. The next topic is going to be the failures that I've experienced, and I'm only listing a handful. I've had plenty, trust me, but I tried to keep this video evenly spaced out with an equal number of items per category. Robert F. Kennedy says, only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. So my point is, don't be afraid to fail. It happens to everybody. As soon as you start getting paralyzed because you're afraid to fail is when you'll stop making progress. One of my failures that I've learned from is I had a contest way too early in the life of my niche. I did a combo kind of go live, where's my mouse? Go live contest and newsletter sign up. I had these big dreams of drumming up scores of newsletter memberships by holding this go live contest, but I did it in my second and third month. So not only did I not have the traffic to make it successful, I also spent money out of pocket on prizes and stuff. So the outcome was I ended up with about 50 subscribers, and it ended up costing me about $300 in expenses. So math says it's like $6 per subscriber, which is not optimal to purchase subscribers. I did use Gleam.io, and they performed very well. In fact, I recommend them if you're having a contest, and I've listed them in my tools section later. So, I started this website around April 15th, and my official launch date, or the 90 days recommended by Income School, was July 15th. In my haste, I started this contest around June 1st, which means I had to run it all of June and then half of July. So since Gleam charges $49.95 a month, I ended up having to pay 2 months to have Gleam kind of run my contest. So there went $100 right there. And then about another $200 total, and the rest of the gifts, which were a mixture of Amazon cards and some other goodies. I did get some stuff sponsored or donated, but I recommend that you wait until you have a decent amount of traffic to your site before running any contests. Just like adding AdSense or any other advertising, wait till you're in the 5th or 6th month or till you start seeing some decent traffic. Just of note at the bottom of the screen, if you want to try to run a newsletter campaign and you want to see an example of a successful one, you can do a quick Google search for Tim Ferriss, how to gather 100,000 emails in 1 week, and it's a fantastic read on how very successful this particular campaign was. Just because theirs was doesn't mean yours will be, which I've definitely found out. But there is one case study that is very fascinating. Next, there's this thing called unsuitable content. Income School recommends you start a YouTube channel, and this particular channel here, Orange Jeep Dad, is an existing channel I've had for a while, so it's had videos on it for several years. And I noticed not too long ago that I was scrolling through some of my older videos, and I noticed one of them had a grayed out $sign, which means it was demonetized. And apparently, all it takes to demonetize a video on YouTube is for any viewer to mark it unsuitable for viewing. So I looked into it a little further and realized after just a couple of clicks that somebody who was anonymous just marked it unsuitable for viewing. So to remedy it, I had to do some clicking and mark it to be evaluated by YouTube. And within about a week, it was back to being monetized. But that video was probably a year old or more, and I had no idea how long it had been sitting there demonetized. I think YouTube, and if you're listening, YouTube, I think you should put a feature that says, send you an email that says you've had a video demonetized. If you do, I didn't get it, but anyway, so make sure you scroll routinely through your videos on YouTube because people will randomly mark them as unsuitable for viewing. Next, I'll tell you about my Amazon account and how it got closed. My Amazon affiliate account was closed on me one day. The good news is they actually give a phone number to call that gets answered. So what I learned was Amazon grants you immediate temporary affiliate access. And then at some point in the future, they actually go do a fact check on your site. If you start a new niche site and use an old Amazon affiliate account like I did, make sure you update your Amazon information. When I started my rad tech niche, I started happily just plugging in my Amazon affiliate links from my old account. During the Amazon review, they tracked back some of the traffic to that old Blogspot site, and I had configured it wrong. So long story short, I was told they did not have the ability to turn the account back on even if they wanted to, but I was allowed to open a new account immediately and start over. Of course, that sounds great unless you've already placed a whole bunch of links all over your site. So I had to go back and manually change a bunch of them. And then just a quick reminder, this also isn't worth turning on until you have traffic going to your site, like maybe the 5th or 6th month if you're getting traffic to your site by that point. And I've heard that Amazon has a 3-month limit where. And this is where I moved my microphone up and coughed and sneezed and forgot to bring the microphone back down and lost 15 minutes of audio. So we were talking about don't sign up for Amazon until you're at least 4 or 5 months old or 6 months old when you've got some traffic, because Amazon, if you install it and don't get any sales for 3 months, they will turn your account back off and you'll have to start all over again. So we're talking about fails and the Amazon fail of setting up your site. So here's what they actually told me in person when I called them. They said when you apply for an Amazon affiliate account, only list the website for yourself. Only list one website for yourself for the application. This is what the Amazon person told me directly. They said, make it easy for them to verify you as possible. Don't go listing all of your other accounts or they will have to check them all. And one little mistake during that process, you have to start all over again. So I recommend, or actually they recommend, you only monetize one site first and then let them verify you. However, if they do shut you down, they will pay out whatever they owe you, which is nice because they could keep it. So it takes several months before they check out your application. You do get instant temporary approval. So as you add websites to your arsenal, make sure you go back to the Amazon affiliate account and add those URLs to your account, which sounds opposite of rule number one, but if you have traffic coming from somewhere, they will need to know where it's coming from. If it doesn't match what you put on your original account sign up, they'll bring down the ban hammer. So start off with one account and set it up on Amazon, and then once they permanently approve you, then add Amazon to your other niche sites. I know it's hard to resist, but if you can't wait and you want to put Amazon on 3 or more sites all at the same time, just make sure you list all those URLs on your Amazon application because they will try to match it up. So the biggest lesson from all this is always have an alternate source of revenue for your site, because if a source goes down at any time, and that's all you have, you're in trouble. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. The next category I went over was the social media category. Social media served me very well to generate inorganic traffic to help me boost my page views so that I qualified for ezoic advertisements at the 4-month mark. If I had not engaged social media, I would have been waiting for my organic traffic to show up, which didn't show up until about the 6th month. So social media is not, if you see the quotation, social media is not a media. The key is to listen, engage, and build relationships. Engage rather than sell. Work as a co-creator, not a marketer. So the trick to using social media for traffic is to get engaged and get involved and become part of the group. And then once you're accepted, then you can start to post links to your articles or to your memes or whatever it is you want to start sharing with the group. So here is the method I recommend to engage in social media for your niche. First, find all the active social media groups and join them. I set a minimum membership of about 1,000. Below that, you just don't get much involvement, but it depends on your niche. If there are several, then choose the biggest and most active, but check the rules as well. And this applies to Facebook, Reddit, LinkedIn, whatever groups you're looking at. So read the group rules. If they say absolutely no marketing or selling, verify that rule by scrolling through the posts. If there are no posts in the past month showing links out to any articles, don't bother joining. Understand the difference between articles and products. In other words, it's easier to link to one of your articles because you're answering a question of one of the members. If you start off linking to products where you're just trying to sell something, it won't come across very well. So I say, number 3 there, only post helpful, harmless comments to show contribution without links to your blog or marketing at first. After several weeks of building relationships, start to introduce articles about the niche with a backlink. If necessary, include a phrase at the end like mods. Please delete if this is not appropriate. It is possible to find groups that have little to no moderation. You'll know this by either A, lots of marketing posts can be found, or B, members complaining that nobody is moderating and the forum is going down the tubes. I still join these types of groups because it just means I can put more marketing posts on there. Check these groups as often as your time allows. Once established in the group, answer questions with links to your articles. This is also a great place to introduce your niche-specific memes with a backlink to your site. Memes are considered less spammy than articles at times, so you may want to start with memes depending on your group. It is possible to find groups that have little to no moderation. You'll know this by either A, lots of marketing posts can be found, or B, members complaining that nobody is moderating and the forum is going down the tubes. I still join these types of groups because it just means I can put more marketing posts on there. Check these groups as often as your time allows. Once established in the group, answer questions with links to your articles. This is also a great place to introduce your niche-specific memes with a backlink to your site. The next step in social media would be to ask if you can help moderate the group. As you post memes and a few helpful articles, don't forget to comment and engage in other posts. And many groups have rules that say give more than you take. This just means post more helpful comments than you advertise. After a month or two, start contacting admins and offer to help moderate. Some are completely overwhelmed and welcome the help. If you get accepted, start slow, enforce the rules and goals that the admin have already established. Show that you just want to make the group better. Start by deleting spam, duplicate posts, and other posts that break the group rules. And if you become a moderator, you can take a little bit more liberty in sharing your own content. Remember, the key is to share your niche posts that are answering common questions in the group. The next step in social media would be to ask if you can help moderate the group. As you post memes and a few helpful articles, don't forget to comment and engage in other posts. And many groups have rules that say give more than you take. This just means post more helpful comments than you advertise. After a month or two, start contacting admins and offer to help moderate. Some are completely overwhelmed and welcome the help. If you get accepted, start slow, enforce the rules and goals that the admin have already established. Show that you just want to make the group better. Start by deleting spam, duplicate posts, and other posts that break the group rules. And if you become a moderator, you can take a little bit more liberty in sharing your own content. Remember, the key is to share your niche posts that are answering common questions in the group. If you become an admin, and it can happen, consider creating a pinned post at the top of the group saying something like, for those with newbie questions, here are some links to answer the basic questions that get posted here a lot. Please read before posting a question that may have already been asked several times. This saves us all time if you do this, and then you put the question and a link to your post, and then the next question and a link to your post, etc. Now, if you start your own group or become an admin to an existing group, I have found the following to be valuable. I added questions for group admissions. Copy and paste the group rules on a back page of your niche. Then link on the rules of admission page to the page you created on your niche. Clearly state during the sign-up form that all requests to join will be denied if the rules are not read and confirmed. I put this inside the second question so it didn't jump right out in the first question. You don't want it to look like it's too obvious that you're just in there for the traffic. To show proof that they complied, I typed one word in red lettering at the bottom of the rules page on my niche site. On the sign-up page, I said in question number 2, type the word in red that you see at the bottom of the rules page for proof that you had read the rules. Now, I thought this was a pretty good idea, but it turns out people still don't comply with anything. It's not a catch-all. Most people won't do it. They just hit the sign-up button and they don't answer any questions. And I used to just deny people that would do that, figuring this is a huge group. It's got plenty of people. If they can't follow these simple rules, they don't need to be in the group. But I realized that if I let them in, there's a chance they may click on one of my future article links later. So I've started just letting everyone in, and then I kick them out if they start breaking the rules. So the point is this: it takes like 5 minutes to type up the rules and post them to your niche site. So if you get any traffic from it at all, that's great. If not, there's not much loss if they don't follow it. Another social media option is to share your articles on LinkedIn as a LinkedIn article. You can publish articles under their article category. You can publish the title and several paragraphs, and then truncate the article and add a read the rest here type link back to your original article. This will bring you some social signals as the traffic will go from LinkedIn to your site. And if you do have success on LinkedIn, consider checking out Limpod. Limpod is a browser add-on that can put you into groups of like-minded people on LinkedIn and boost your posts and the number of interactions you get to your posts. This is an example of my LinkedIn profile. That's one of the articles I posted, Why Employers Should Celebrate RadTech Week. And if you click on the article, it'll take you to the truncated version that I posted on LinkedIn. And if you scroll down, you'll see that I added some paragraphs, and I try to put just enough to capture the reader's interest. And there's the read the whole article here link back to my niche website. And that's how I share posts on LinkedIn. It has brought a fair amount of traffic. It's really easy to do. Another experiment I'll list under the social media tab is leaving Google reviews on Google Maps. I was eating in a Subway one day with my girls and took a group selfie and uploaded it to the Subway review page on Google. And a few weeks went by and I got a text from a friend saying, "Hey, have you checked out the local Subway ad lately on Google?" So I went to Google and checked it out. And there it was, me and my kids sitting inside the Subway restaurant, and it's the main image shown when you Google the local Subway. So that got me thinking, if Google's obviously not paying attention to what pictures are uploaded, so what else can we do with those? So here's an example where I was at the Yard House restaurant in Denver, Colorado during a conference, and I left a nice review about the food there. And at the end, I left my logo from my keto niche website. And that's going to get me just a little bit of advertisement for my keto niche. As long as your niche is related to the review that you're leaving, there should be no problem in connecting the two. The same thing can apply to reviews on Amazon purchases. Do you buy a lot of products on Amazon, and do any of them relate to your niche? Why not mention your URL in the review? Here's one for example. Shipping was quick. I needed this coil to get my 1977 Jeep CJ7 running again. I had a conference coming up. It was the annual AHRA conference sponsored by the radiologictechnologist.com, and I had a great time thanks to the Excel coil. If you take the URL, and there's the actual customer review, and there's the comments. If you take the URL from that page and you put it in a tool that shows you the domain authority ranking, such as the website SEO checker, you can see there's the URL. Check that you're not a robot. Click the button, and what you'll see is the results of this Amazon page are a domain authority of 96. So there should be some link juice or some link love coming from that at some point. Okay, had to run and pick a daughter up from basketball practice. Let's see if we can get this finished before more chaos hits. If you can't tell, I'm working on pneumonia or something. It can't be the flu because I got the mandatory flu shot at work. So this has to be something else. But thanks for hanging in there with me. This slide is about my current post setup, the different enhancements, format, and plugins that I use. And this is ever changing and probably forever will be, but here's what I've got so far. At the top of my posts, I place a large image with an embedded YouTube video. And in most cases, I'm using Content Samurai, and I'll talk more about that later. But Content Samurai is super easy to use, turns your post into a video. All you do is cut and paste, check the free usage images that it uploads for you, and make sure they're relevant. Anyway, I'll talk more about that in a minute. I like the added table of contents plugin. It generates a nice table of contents where I tell it to. I like it at the top. And it not only tells the reader what they're going to be reading about, but it hot links or bookmarks those items. So let me see if I can't just pop over and show you one. So here's an example of a post I did about RadTech burnouts. And here's one of my favorite plugins. It's the reading time. It tells the reader exactly how many minutes they're going to be there. And here's the table of contents I'm talking about. And it's expandable or collapses with the push of this button. But it shows them what all the different, this particular article is about what burns you out at work. And I list different ways to reverse that. So somebody could scroll through here and decide they want to look at a particular thing. And if they click on it, how to reduce stress in a busy healthcare environment, it jumps all the way down to that part. And I've listed, of course, the things to help cure that. But that's an example of the table of contents. This is an example of where I've added video into the title. And this is kind of a long title, but I kind of have to have it because the keyword is continuing qualification requirements and the abbreviation CQR. But it shows the reading time is 9 minutes. It's got the table of contents for each part. If somebody wants to know a specific aspect, they can click on it, go right there. And then here's the video, which is made from Content Samurai, and it's the same article that you're looking at, but it's placed into a video format. And I wonder if I can give you a sneak peek at what that looks like. So this is an example where I just use music and you can just read the words. There are other examples I have where I've chosen an automated voice, or they call it a robot voice. And the robot voice speaks it actually better than I could keep up with it, because it knows what the next slide is going to say, so there's no pause. I found that when I was trying to read it to put my own voice on it, if I didn't know what the next slide would say, I would have to pause for just an awkward second until I could see the next slide. The AI of Content Samurai works very smoothly. But back to what I was saying. I've added the table of contents. I started bolding and underlining words in Bucket Brigade format. Bucket Brigade is something that you can look up. I've got it down here. Bucket Brigades are an old school copyright tactic that were originally designed to keep people reading sales letters, and it's another Backlinko suggestion. But basically, it's just a trick they used to use and still use to break up the monotony of generic black and white text. And the way I use it is I bold certain words, I underline certain words, and I kind of sprinkle that throughout the article to keep people kind of focused. I already told you about the estimated reading time plugin. I also want to put a reading progress bar, but I can't find one right now that works with my Acct theme, but I'll find one of those. I told you that I put the video in the title. To me, it's more for the human experience when somebody's reading the title. If there's two similar titles and mine says plus video, it should steer that person towards my post. I also like Q&A Grabber. It's something I'll go over in my recommended tools. But Q&A Grabber, you punch in your keyword and it will go out to Google and pull however many frequently asked questions that you tell it to, and it'll bring it back for you with the answers right in one place, where you can then change the answers to whatever you want them to be, copy and paste them into your post. I'll go over that a little bit later. And then remember, your goal is to make your content as helpful and as easy to read as possible. So my search for the holy grail of post layout is ongoing, and as new plugins and Google updates roll out, post layouts will continuously change. So I just wanted to kind of show you what my current post, because when I started, I didn't know about the table of contents or the reading time or the bucket brigades. I just plastered tons of black and white text. And then I learned about the need to sprinkle 2 to 3 images per 1,000 words, and bolding and underlining and italicizing and indenting and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to quickly show you my current layout. The next topic or category is about monetization, or methods for revenue streams. And Warren Buffett once said, if you don't find ways to make money when you sleep, you will work until you die. And so here are some of the money things I have found, like adding affiliate links on your YouTube videos. I used to just put YouTube videos out there, and in the description, I'd say what the video was about. Then I learned, I go back now to my YouTube channel and I choose the top 5 viewed videos. In each description box of those videos, I add a minimum of 4 links to Amazon affiliate products. And then I start with headings like, these are the must-have items if you're interested in this topic. And then, of course, pick related items that are related to your video. I have a bunch of tractor videos, on Orange Jeep Dad. And so if you're doing a video about restoring a tractor, then link to the Ford Blue factory paint, or the owner's manual, or emblem replacements. And then use bit.ly links so that your long Amazon affiliate links will fit onto one line, and you can customize them for more personalization. So on the top of one of my videos for a Ford 8N restoration project, it says something like this. And those old tractors, because the bottom was painted red, they were called old red bellies. For an old red belly restoration, you must have the following: the Ford Tractor Bible, or the owner's manual, some ignition keys, because you will lose them, the Rust-Oleum Ford Blue and the Rust-Oleum Ford Red, and an 8N Ford decal set. And these are the little bit.ly links I told you about, because this way they stay right at the top of or they stay nice and neat in the description box. So here's an example of one of my older videos. This is where I was rebuilding my grandfather's Ford 8N back on the family farm in Oklahoma one summer. And you can see there are the links that I left, these nice tight little bit.ly links. When you put in an Amazon URL, end up saying amazon.to. But you see how they nicely kind of stack in there, and then is the title to or the description of the actual video. And I've seen people do this with page long, lots and lots of different links. So this is what I'm talking about going back to your old videos. You also need to consider parallel income streams, and you see a lot of videos on YouTube about income streams. What do they call them? Passive income streams. Just ask yourself, what have you started doing that you enjoy or that brings a lot of traffic to your site? Can you expand on that somehow? So one of the things I've done is I've joined Printify and I added an Etsy store. And I took my memes because they generate a lot of traffic for me, and I put them on coffee mugs and clothing. And I showed in one of my previous videos about how I'm making money with my niche sites, and I showed that November was my first month for the Printify Etsy store, and I'd already sold 4 products by like the 15th or something. That number's gone up. We're still in November, but it's making some sales on the side. And then I also enjoy writing content, so I started offering content services on the side a few months back. Of course, don't forget your YouTube channel. I had an email from Ricky not too long ago where he was telling me that they find it so much easier to monetize and make money on YouTube than blogging. That's why you're seeing them reach out a lot more on YouTube. Then you've got all your Amazon affiliate sites, or I'm sorry, your affiliate sites. You've got Amazon affiliates, Rakuten, AWIN, the old Commission Junction, ClickBank. Target has its own affiliate site, Share a Sale, that kind of stuff. And then with that, you can couple advertisers like your AdSense or your Ezoic. There's ones that are further up the chain if you're more popular of a site like Mediavine and AdThrive. There's a lot of different advertisers you can look into for putting ads on your website. Number 6 is your niche newsletter. Don't neglect a good email subscription base on a newsletter can bring in a nice income. Podcasting is another revenue generator. For me, I think it's a lot of fun to sit down and interview somebody. The editing is a little bit cumbersome, but I've listened to a lot of nice podcasts over the years that I'm grateful that I had the chance to listen to. You can also consult in your niche if you're good enough at it. And if you can't think of anything else, look at your top 3 competitors' websites. Look through their source code. What is it that they're linking out to make their money with? Income School has posted a video before that about their multiple streams. I think they sell the Acabado theme, the Project 24 membership, their blogs make money. They sell content, I think, through the Rexburg project. They do consulting, they have their info products. They are a great example of having multiple income streams. Another way to make money, or another way to say making money, is marketing. Always be thinking about how you can get your content out there to people. So I had business cards made for a conference. I spoke at a national conference in my field of radiology. So I made business cards with my niche on it, and that's the picture of it on the right side. It just had my logo, and it had my URL, and then it had the URL with the AHRA means that is where I put the PowerPoint presentation that I gave in my speech. So when people would come up to me after the conference and say, can I get a copy of your presentation? Because you can either give it to the conference ahead of time and they post it on their website and members can download it, or you can opt to let them print them all out for you. And when people show up to your talk, they have a packet sitting there, or you can say, hey, go get it from my website, which is what I chose to do. So I spoke at the conference. I made these cards. On the opposite side of the cards, I did a full screenshot of the first slide of my PowerPoint presentation. So when people ask me for a copy of my presentation, I could defer them to my card, which has the URL to the presentation. It also has the URL to my homepage in general and my podcast. So I got a box of them made at Costco for like $21. I wanted to do something a little bit more useful, like refrigerator magnets, but that was a bigger box. I didn't really want to carry that around, and I might experiment with that at a future time. But I also put a card in front of every single chair in the conference room, which held about 300. So you can imagine 300 cards laid out on the tables. And then by both exit doors, I left a little pile of them. And during my talk, I did say at the beginning and at the end that I have a website on the side where I share articles about our field, and you're welcome to go check them out. And I think the next slide, I show the actual backside. Yeah, so that is the backside of my card, and it shows that I did forensic accounting and radiology administration, and I linked to my website on the back of that as well. And so very well received. It got the word out to a lot of my peers. I found that very beneficial. The next category is about where to find content and methods that I use to come up with new posts. This is another really common question that people ask me. Where do you find information for new content? How do you, what happens if you get writer's block? So I've got a little quote there. I don't believe in writer's block. If I can't write, I go out and live. Then if I'm a writer, I'll find something to write. So that really goes back to my whole concept of getting engaged in your niche. You cannot write a successful niche that you're completely disassociated with. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to be able to speak to people about it. Otherwise, it'll show through your writing that you're just not plugged in. So I've already kind of gone over engaging social media groups. So there's really the big three that I hit, and that's Facebook, LinkedIn, and Reddit. So if you're not familiar or you haven't thought about them in this context, Facebook's really good for just about anything and everything. I did a search for Christmas, and there was over 50 groups just on Christmas. So odds are there's a niche group for you. LinkedIn really is only for the professional crowd. My radiology site, for example, tends to cater to students who are studying to be rad techs. That was not a very popular item on LinkedIn because people there are already in the field, they're already established in their career. You won't find students on LinkedIn very often. So you kind of have to feel out LinkedIn to see if it's a good fit for your niche. And then Reddit is a whole nother animal. That group overanalyzes everything and has a warped sense of humor. So I'm not saying it doesn't work. I make it work for mine. There's a radiology subreddit over there that I'm active in, and it does well, but not in the same way. I mean, if I post best X-ray shoes or best shoes for X-ray techs at Reddit, they will analyze every single thing I say, and it will just become a giant debate, and nobody's clicking on any links. I put it on Facebook, and I get 500 to 1,000 page views, so people going to see, are my shoes on there, or what shoes should I really be looking at? It works really good on Facebook. LinkedIn, I don't even bother putting a best of type thing because the professionals there don't care about wearing shoes in the hospital. They're all wearing their penny loafers and dress shoes. So following the Facebook groups in my niche, I save posts that I read that have large comments of 30 to 50 or above. So in other words, when you join these groups, like I mentioned before, start reading through the posts and making notes and saving the posts where there's a lot of engagement. And then when I have time, I go back through and I review those posts to be potential articles. For example, I've got in there the California fluoro license. There's always somebody posting, hey, I'm moving to California. They have their own fluoroscopy license. How do I study for it? What do you guys recommend? And it gets asked like every week. So I wrote a post on it. Now when I see that in there, I'll just go, hey, check this article out. Boom. And I'll slap the URL in there and people go and read it. Same thing, I notice people constantly asking, what are the best shoes for this line of work? So I wrote a post about it. I wrote a buyer's guide article linking to Amazon products based on what all the people were saying in those posts. So when I see the what shoes should I wear in 3 different Facebook groups, I just gather all that data up, put it in an Excel spreadsheet, sort them, and filter them into subcategories, and then I've got my top 10. So the research is already done, and it caters exactly to your niche. So you just put it in a blog format, link it to your Amazon affiliates, put it back in those niches, and say, hey, I notice somebody's always asking, and I noticed that there's always a lot of answers. So I took them all, compiled them all into this report, and here, go check it out. This is what you guys are all saying are the best shoes based on your own comments. At the bottom, I did list some other niches that are mediums that you can talk about your niche in. Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest are very popular. WhatsApp is out there, Messenger, Tumblr, and a lot of people are talking about the up and coming TikTok. I have not figured out any way to engage that's in any way profitable, but it is out there and we need to keep our eye on it. The other method, which is kind of the opposite side of what we just talked about, is to survey the Facebook groups yourself. So once you've joined a niche-related Facebook group, use their poll feature that's built in. I pulled the question of what causes you burnout at work, and I got over 100 comments. So I started with a 2,000-word post that I wrote detailing the different aspects of workplace burnout in general. And then I grouped all the comments by category and I added those categories to the post. And then I also sprinkled in some comments from people on the Facebook group, but I replaced their real names with fake names because you don't want anybody getting upset that you outed them just in case they say something negative about the employer. I mean, that's what this whole article was what the employer does that makes them want to quit. So for each category of burnout, I presented 2 solutions to prevent or reverse the situation. So I'm sharing this with you because it's not only a method to go find more content, but think about burnout. Does burnout relate to your niche? If you're writing about a product, then no, unless you can figure out, I write about kayak paddles. Can you figure out when do people get sick of their current kayak paddle and decide to switch to something different? But mostly, if we're talking about careers or sports, or when do you get burned out on your favorite player? Think about can you integrate this burnout theory or this burnout topic into your niche? So in total, there was about 15 categories or causes of burnout. The article ended up being over 8,000 words. And I decided to add in some kind of comedic memes to lighten the spirits just a little bit. But this was the burnout article, and it actually did get picked up by Google, who put it at the bottom of their search page. Sometimes you'll see they put links to other articles under the search bar on Chrome. They did that to this one, and I got a good 3,000 page views over 2 days, and then it died back off. Other vendors in the radiology space picked this up and linked to it. But you can see it's a good 30-minute article. Here's all the different things that can cause, and I called it BS, kind of joking around, burnout situation, because it's stuff we deal at work, right? What's the BS we all have to deal with at work? So I just said a little bit about what is burnout and what are the categories that I figured out through my research. And I said, okay, here's the BS situation number 1. Here's a little joke. Yeah, so we're going to be short staffed forever. So if you could just go ahead and work yourself to death, that'd be great from Office Space, right? But I listed what it is. They basically told me in the post, in the poll, here's what I don't like that's happening and what causes it. And then notice I sprinkled in Allie reported giving an injection to the wrong patient. She shouldn't have been doing this in the first place. She was asked to help out by an athletic trainer who was too busy charting. Allie was trying to be a team player by helping out, but it was not in her normal routine to give this level of care. Needless to say, the wasted injection costed the company $500. So you change the names, you indent it so it stands out. That's your bucket brigade formatting. And then I gave 2 solutions: a suggested tip, that is what maybe an administrator, because I play an administrative role in radiology, maybe what an administrator would say, but then I give an alternative solution that's not quite so, this is what the boss is telling me to do. But here's like from a tech perspective, take your time with every patient. There's the second one. Burnout situation number 2, high volume of patients. And this is kind of what it feels like when you've got too many patients than what you can handle because administration is understaffing your department. So this is just an example of a burnout article, and it was quite beefy. It gets a lot of views, and worked out really well. So again, I did the same thing for the best shoes for healthcare workers, and I loaded it with Amazon affiliate links. The beauty of these is it's completely relevant to the group members that you're serving this article to, and you didn't just write a post and hope they like it. Another method for finding content that I use is sometimes I don't have new content to share, but in this particular case, over the Labor Day weekend, traffic was low because of the holidays, and I didn't have anything new really to share, but I wanted to put something out there to get some traffic. And I wondered, why don't I have any new content? What have I been doing? I realized that's when I switched over my theme to the new Acabado theme. So I posted on several of my Facebook groups, hey, happy Labor Day to my American friends out there. I have revamped the entire website to make it 5 times faster for you to use. So if you get a chance, stop by and check it out. And then I drop the URL. This does 3 things. Number 1, it starts out with a positive message and it's not just about me or my website. Number 2, it tells the why behind the reason they should visit the site because it's 5 times faster. And number 3, it passively says, if you have time, instead of being all pushy. I do the same thing for my monthly update announcement for my meme page. I post something and say, hey, my meme page is updated, come check it out, and then put a link. Or did you miss the latest newsletter? The archives are posted here, link. Or come see our new logo, and then I put the URL. Or even better, have a logo design contest to drum up some traffic. Or sometimes if I'm going to a conference, I'll post, hey, I'm going to the XYZ conference. If you wish you could go, but you can't, and you have some questions you'd like me to ask, leave them on this page in the comments section, and I'll ask them for you. These are ways I come up with content when I don't necessarily have a new article. Then you also have niche holidays and current events. And my point here is that sometimes you do have reasons to share, even if you don't necessarily have new content. You can do posts related to current events. I may have no new content, but I could do a quick happy birthday to Wilhelm Röntgen, the inventor of the X-ray, on my RadTech site, or today's the anniversary of the day X-ray was invented, or I could talk about National Radiology Technologists Week, which happens every year. I've written content about the different organizations in my industry. If your niche has meetups or shows or annual conferences, maybe a dedicated magazine, you can talk about that. You can interview people that may be prominent in your niche. You can write a history about your niche. You know, when did it start? Who started it? How did it evolve? Are there any movies about your niche? Any songs about it? Are there any books on the subject that you can review? So these are just some things to think outside of the box on where to get your content. And I'll mention this was kind of an experiment by happenstance that actually works out, and it's about niche related jokes. So if you can find niche related jokes, and I'm sure there are jokes on just about every type of niche, search the internet for them. And then I used Content Samurai again to kind of test it out. Remember, there's a free 7-day trial, and I'll leave a link in my description. But I went out and just grabbed a handful of dumb farmer jokes and I uploaded them into Content Samurai and put them on my Orange Sheep Dad channel as an experiment. And in about a month, it had 224 views and 8 hours of watch time. And that wasn't even a niche relevant. I just wanted to see if people would watch a video about dumb farmer jokes. Can you imagine how niche fans would react to a quality, well-made joke post or video? So you could also create a joke storyboard page where you post these kind of memes, if you will, post the joke pictures 5 to a page with a little next button at the bottom, or write them out in text like paragraph by paragraph. It won't take long and it adds a lot of content. So here's the dumb farmer jokes. It's actually still up and on my channel. You can go see it if you want to see an example of an artificial intelligence narrator reading a video to you. This is a good short video, 11 and a half-ish minutes. But you can see I just uploaded it at the very end of August. It's got 256 views. And I'll just play a little snippet for you.
Farmer, I hear lots of jokes about sheep. I'd tell them to my dog, but he'd heard them all. Why shouldn't you tell a secret on a farm? Because the potatoes have eyes and the corn has ears. What did the farmer call his cow? Pat. Why did the scarecrow win the Nobel Prize? Because he was outstanding in his field.
So, yeah, it's corny, but yeah, it gets views, and it took very little time to throw this all together. If you make it niche relevant, I guarantee people in your niche will enjoy these. Another good method for finding content is to use the Google Alerts console for your niche. You can log into your Google account and set an alert for a word or a phrase that's relevant to your niche. I created one for kayaking, for example, and I get a weekly email from Google sharing all the articles and news stories published around the world of kayaking. Each notification that I get, you can see it down below there, each link comes with 8 articles and a link to see more. And you can set the frequency however often you want to get these notices. This is a great source for ideas and topics. So this is an example of just a snippet out of my inbox. showing that the Google alert for kayak had been delivered. And I look at these, so we've got the best Black Friday deals going on. That could easily be a couple of posts about what I see coming up on Black Friday that will help you if you're into kayaking. Or here's one that outdoor icon Jerry McInnes passed away. I could do a nice tribute to Jerry McInnes. I could do the dangers of kayaking alone because they found an empty kayak. And this is just the headline. Inside each one of these links is 8 articles and a link to go see more. So this is an excellent additional source to find content for your niche. The last one I'll end up with on finding content is one of my favorites, and it revolves around memes that use animals. So we all know that animals are a huge attraction on the internet, on memes and YouTube. People sit around for hours just watching cat videos. I came across images of animals getting a CAT scan, and I grabbed those images. There was no watermarks or copyrights or anything on them, and I contacted the person that I saw who posted them and asked them, and they said I don't mind at all. So I just added some words to make it a meme, right? Big sleepy kitty gets a CAT scan, or this rhinoceros here getting a CAT scan. Hey Carl, be honest, do I look like a fat unicorn? Yep, his meds are working just fine. And you can see I put a link to my meme page right here. So if these get circulated, which they did, people saw where they could go look at more of them. And if you're posting these on social media, just share some of them with the title simple, like amazing animal exams. See more at this URL. And create a meme page. I created a meme page on my site. It gets a lot of traffic. It's ranked high in the search results. Second to the last category is tools of the trade. Here I'm just listing some of the tools that I picked up along the way. Most of you probably already know about. There's tools either I'm using or my friends are using. I got a little quote there. If my only tool is a hammer, then every problem starts to look like a nail. My point in posting that is just not to be naive enough to think that you can just answer a Google question and that's all you have to do to rank. You have to research your competition. You need to have a couple of tools so you can see what the keywords are that your competition's using, how many times are they using it in their popular posts, so you know how many times you should be using it, and so on. The tool I use by far more frequently than anything is Grammarly, and Grammarly has a free version available. Grammarly, as most of you probably already know, helps you check the spelling, the punctuation, grammar, and plagiarism, among other things. It's very simple to add it to your browser and start using it for free. I thought I was pretty good at writing. I'm working on my doctorate. So I thought, I know what I'm doing. And I downloaded Grammarly and started finding several mistakes. Now, some of the suggestions are wrong because none of these programs are perfect, but it did catch some valid errors. Mostly what I was finding was I would be typing too fast and it would cause me to misspell words, and I wasn't doing a good enough job proofreading what I had typed. So I am very glad I found Grammarly. And I'll have a link for that in the description for you. So whether you're writing your own content or you're buying content from other writers, this is a must-have tool. It offers an ability to choose different writing goals when you're writing the article. It's pretty cool. Once you copy and paste your article into their tool, a pop-up will jump up on the screen, and it'll ask you what you're writing for. Is your audience a general audience, knowledgeable or expert? Is the formality informal, neutral, or formal? Is the domain of your topic academic in nature, or business, or general, technical, casual, or creative? And what tone would you like it to have? A neutral tone, confident, joyful, optimistic, friendly, urgent, analytical, or respectful? And based on what you pick, it will start pulling out the words that you're using and recommend suggested words in their place. Amazon Link Checker is another tool I find very helpful. This is a cloud-based software, so you don't have to download anything to your computer. And what it does, you go in and you tell it what your website URL is, and it will crawl your website and check for Amazon affiliate link problems. So what I included on the screen there is the latest email that I got from them that says, "Hi, Orange Cheap Dad. This is an automated email to let you know we've completed a scan of your Amazon affiliate website. We checked a total of 501 pages on your website, and it stopped there because that's where the free version stops. If you want to pay, it'll do the entire website. So it stopped at 500, And here's what it found. 662 links are on my site. 464 are okay, but 76 of them are missing an affiliate tag. None of them link to an out of stock item, but 71 are linking to items that are unavailable. 30 are linking to items that have a low average review rating, under your average review rating threshold of 3. So I told it I only want to link to things that have a 3 or higher, and 30 of them now are below that. And then it also is telling me I've got 21 links that are linking to pages that have a 404 page move. So clearly I have some work to do if I want to go back to that old blog site and fix those errors. Amazon LinkedIn Checker, found at this URL, is a fabulous tool. Here's just some other ones you've probably heard of. Some of them are the classics. There's, of course, Google's Keyword Planner. There's a free keyword checker that you can see at serpbot.com. Neil Patel has a great tool called UberSuggest. My only beef with that is it's only updated once a month. So you have to wait till around the 15th of every month to see where you're ranking on his tool. Market Muse, I had mentioned earlier, you can use that to rank against your competitors and see what their keywords are that you're not using, so you kind of know what you're missing there. Help finding questions, answer response posts can be found at answerthepublic.com. Of course, there's MOZ Pro and SEMrush, very popular tools, and SmallSEOTools is free as well. The not for free tools that I've used, but I do recommend, and this is the gleam.io. This is what I talked about earlier when I ran my contest that failed. I won't say failed miserably because I got 50 subscribers off of it, but if you're going to run a contest and you know what you're doing, I do recommend you check out gleam.io because it was so easy to set up, and I liked it because it gives you different things you can configure. For example, you assign points basically to anyone that enters the contest. You can give them points if they write a guest blog post for you, and you can set the amount of points too. So you can say, hey, I'll give you 25 points if you write me a blog post, or 2 points. You can give them points for signing up for your newsletter, points for commenting on your blog posts, points for tweeting about your site or sharing it on Facebook. They just had a lot of different things you could do to engage people on your site. The configuration I used was I gave them 1 point for signing up for my newsletter, and then I wanted them to refer their friends. So B, I gave them 1 point for each verified email that also signs up for my newsletter. So it's like a refer a friend program, but Gleam verifies all those email addresses for you. So Gleam also provides the affiliate tracking ID during the sign up process. It was really a nice interface. You spend just a little bit of time telling it how you want to run your campaign. It gives you code. You throw it onto your site on a page, and people go there and sign up, and it keeps track of all their points. You can pull reports. And in the end, you can even use a feature that lets you pick the winners at random through a random generator because it has collected all of the contestants' names and email. And you can tell them if you want first name, last name, email, phone number, what it is you want to collect. And I do recommend Gleam. It's not cheap. $50 a month is not cheap. But if you are looking for that, it is a great program. The last item is just pictures. People are always asking, where do you get your pictures from? I've got a quote there that says, photography is the story I fail to put into words, because, well, I say it down there, your content can capture their attention, but the image you use can spark an unforgettable memory of your post. So I try to take my own pictures whenever I can. I've got an Android phone that has a 23 megapixel camera on it. I've got a Nikon that I think is 25 megapixel. Of course, iPhones now take really nice pictures as well. So I take as many pictures myself as I can. And if for some reason I need something outside of my own library, there are certain places I go. So these are some of them. A picture, of course, is worth 1,000 words on top of the words you've already written. So strive to put 2 images per 1,000 words to help break up the monotony of black and white letters. Make sure you're not using someone else's copywritten works. Better yet, dare to create your own with just your cell phone and a quirky angle of the subject you're imaging. Canva.com is one of my favorite places to go just because they have such a variety of formats already established. So whether you're creating a Pinterest image or a YouTube thumbnail or a Facebook image, you can just select one of those categories and it'll already be pre-configured. Then you just design it. So they do have paid images that are $1, and some would say their library isn't massive, but I have been using it for probably 4 months and I still haven't run out of ways to rearrange all the different backdrops and photographs and just they have just a lot of stuff. It's super easy. You can download the app on your phone. I've made several thumbnails from my phone. If I'm, traveling somewhere or stuck somewhere, I can pull out my phone and quickly do a thumbnail for my next project. A lot of people also don't know you can use Google Images. If you go to Google Images and select Tools and then Usable Rights and then Labeled for Reuse, they actually list a bunch of really great photos there that you can use without licensing. Another good option is Pexels.com, and then there's Unsplash and Pixabay. So that's going to wrap it up. I think we're pushing an hour and over an hour here, so I'm going to have to do some editing. But I'm going to stop with a call to action, another income school tactic that we're taught, right? Call to action at the end. Was this video helpful to you? Yes or no? If it was, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Help me let YouTube know that I'm here. I think it helps put you higher up in these search results, the more likes you get. And if you didn't like it, maybe you were sleeping through the whole thing. I don't know. So what would you like to see in the next video? I've got all these topics at the top here, and if you can't remember what they all are, just go back to the beginning of the video. But I'm guessing there's something you would like to know more about. Would you like to know more about what the other people in the business are saying to keep an eye on? Would you like to know more about how to use social media, or what you should be making your post look like, or how to make more money, or where to find content? Pick one of those and leave it for me in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see in future videos. And then subliminally down here, I have like and subscribe again, but you don't see that because it's subliminal. I hope you liked the video. I spent a lot of time preparing it. I'm working through it with the pneumonia here. I hope it didn't bother you too much. I'll see you at the next video.